So I asked ChatGPT to basically list out the top 10 WordPress plugins you must be using for your website. So ChatGPT is popular, and I asked ChatGPT which are the top 10 WordPress plugins which are very, very important and you must have. And surprisingly, it listed many of them. But I have a very different opinion what ChatGPT is saying because there are few things which are not taken care by the plugins which are mentioned by ChatGPT, and I'm really going to discuss all of them. Well, the very first thing when you want to have your WordPress website, and if you are in the development stage, or you are in the production stage, or you are just a blogger who is maintaining the website, one plugin which you must have is all-in-one backup. And all-in-one backup has many alternatives too, but I made a open source version, cracked version for myself, and I have been maintaining that for very quite long time. And this tool has now become quite the cutthroat kind of system, and they are forcing people to actually purchase the paid version of it. But very early version, when they had actually 500 MB and 512 MB of backup available, what I did was I found a solution on the internet, and I increased the size to 10 GB plus, and basically it became unlimited for me. So the reason why I did that, because it is done legally. That means that if the software was open source, and if I'm modifying that and using for my purpose, I was allowed to use that, and I maintained that. And once in a while I update that, and because these are open source applications, it's absolutely legal to use that software the way I'm using it. So that is one of the most important backup software which you should be having. There are other alternate like Updraft Plus, which helps you with automatic backup. But I do automatic backing up, but what I do most importantly is I always maintain one or two version of offline backup available in my computer, so that in case something goes wrong with the server, it is actually not lost, but actually I can recover that from my old backup which will be available in my system. So that's one plugin. The second and very most important one is WordFence. WordFence is a security plugin, and along with security, it gives you a lot of other resources for you. For example, it gives you anti-brute force system, which you can implement. It gives you two-factor authentication. It gives you rate limiting, and it also gives you IP blocking, which can be taken from public databases, or you can define your own IP. So the reason why this is important, because WordPress website often have this issue of getting attacked even though it is in development. Yes, that's very real. The WordPress website, even if they are in development, they often get attacked by hackers, and it is just the nature of WordPress because it gets detected and people attack. So one of the way to solve this is basically to install WordPress, and then install WordFence, and WordFence should be configured. And the general configuration needed right now is you create a free account on WordFence, and you'll be able to use that for free. Again, let's go to the third plugin. Third plugin often comes in terms of SEO, and people often recommend Yoast SEO. But after 2017, I changed the strategy, and basically I started using Rank Math. Now Rank Math is an amazing plugin. It gets most of the premium feature which was being sold by Yoast earlier, and Rank Math become an industry standard, and people started using Rank Math. So if you are willing to if you're willing to develop a website which is either for a service company or maybe a blog, or might be for a local business, Rank Math absolutely suits that need. And even the free version of the application actually does the justice. If you are really looking for something having multiple schema and all, then in that case is you can go for pro. But Rank Math absolutely solves the general use case of having a business website, having schema. And Rank Math is actually amazing, way better than Yoast, because Yoast was limiting on a lot of features, and they were pushing towards premium plugin, and they were also selling courses and all. But Rank Math came and changed the game. So that's the plugin I would choose for SEO. The number four is Analytics by Monster Insight. Now, This plugin is also recommended by Google Analytics because it is so simple to install and implement, and it becomes very easier for a non-technical person to go ahead and implement that in your website, and then then integrate the whole thing and see a little part of the data which is important to see how many visitors have been coming to your website, what kind of medium they have been coming from, how much time they have been spending on your site. So this kind of data becomes important, and Monster Insights absolutely does the justice for being free and avail you all the resources. Although if you consider to have important features, you can definitely go for the premium version. I must also mention that in rank math, the analytics integration is available, but if you want to get a lot of advanced data, you should be upgrading rank math itself to the premium version, and you'll have most of the data. And rank math also connects with Google search console, and you'll have a lot of data from the Google search console based on which keyword you are ranking for, which URL is getting most of the traffic, how much time they are spending. So rank math actually does a quite well job, but if you are looking for a free version, Monster Insights, by Opt-in Monster, does a very good job. The next one is page builders. Now there are many available in the market, from very basics like site origin to advanced plugins like Elementor premium version. You have a lot of options available, and there are many available in the market. I have used I have used from site origin to Visual Composer to Visual Bakery to Divi to to Elementor to many other plugins, and what you feel is the one which always comes in mind and simple to use is Elementor. Elementor becomes the industry standard, and generally what happens that you also get the templates on Envato Elements marketplace, or you get on Theme Forest, which becomes quite handy to build any website and quite faster, unlike a lot of other plugins which did not get this popularity, and they somewhere lacked the features behind or usability behind or user experience behind. And Elementor came and it took most of the market, and it is also quite affordable in case you are actually considering to become a premium member of them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The next one is Smush. Now Smush is an image compression plugin which basically allows you to compress all the images which you have on your website, and it does a quite well job of compressing without losing a lot of clarity. And the other version of this, let's say that if you have a very big blog which has a lot of images, you can always go to tiny png and you can optimize all the images. Tiny png also have WordPress plugin, but in case you are willing to use only the free version of it, then you can download 10 images in a row, and then you can compress all of them, and then you'll be able to download and re-upload and reconfigure that. But if you want all this to happen automatically on the site, then you can go for the premium version of Smush. And if you have a bigger website, of course you should go for the premium version, and if you have a smaller version, you can always use the free version of Smush, and it does a quite well job. The next plugin I have for you is Branda. A lot of people actually, when they build website on WordPress, have a negative feeling towards WordPress because they don't want to present themselves that they are using an open source CMS or they are using a very common system. They want to present themselves unique, and it becomes a unique value proposition if you are a startup and you want to raise funds. A lot of VCs have this stigma of not having website on WordPress because WordPress is weak and secure. But the reality is big websites, even like TechCrunch, are actually built on WordPress, and very big websites are built on this. In fact, the White House website is built on WordPress, and it is, if it is maintained well, there is no such issue as security, because every software has security issues. And if WordPress is the number one CMS in the world, then in that case, of course, there will be security threats. So if you are managing well, you will not be having issues. And if you have issues, there are a lot of solutions available in the community, and you will be able to solve it quite immediately compared to other open source or other CMS which do not have a lot of users or it is popular. So Branda basically helps you in white labeling the login page. That means that if you are logging in, generally when you log in, what happens that a logo of WordPress is visible very clearly before the username and password, and that becomes something little odd. So if you want to customize it, in that case what you can do is you can install Branda, you can configure one of their default pages, or you can create one of your own. You can configure your logo or social media, and then you can go further and you can deliver that to your client or your own website, whatever the need is, and that will give a better experience compared to what the login page comes with the general WordPress. The next one is broken link checker. Often when you do SEO, you tend to see this advice by a lot of people that you should not have broken pages because that creates issue and it doesn't pass the link use or authority to other pages. So in that case, if you are building a website using WordPress and you don't know that where the links are broken, then you have a very simple plugin, and it's a free plugin which you can use, and it is by WPMU dev, and you can use this plugin. You can just simply install it and leave it. What will happen that it will crawl all the pages, find out all the broken links, and it will list you that these many pages has broken links, and this is how you can edit it. It also gives you a very simple dashboard from where you'll be able to replace those links, and it becomes very handy if you are a web developer who is working on a lot of pages and you have you have a habit of forgetting links, or having broken links. So that is something which can really help you. The next plugin I have for you is CAOS, Complete Analytics Optimization Solution, and this plugin is especially for Google Analytics users. What this plugin does is it downloads the script of Google Analytics and it stores in your hosting. Now, trust me or not, I have experienced this, that whenever I insert JavaScript of Google Analytics, my website becomes slower. And you may question, what, your server is faster than Google? Yes, actually it is, because Google does not invest a lot on building free solutions and providing high quality resources for their free product, and that becomes a challenge. Their system is very fast if you talk about Google search or you talk about Gmail, but when it comes to Google Analytics especially, the JavaScript actually loads slower, and that becomes a challenging. So CAOS, the plugin, will allow you to keep the JavaScript code inside your website, and whenever someone requests any web page or reads an article, the JavaScript will be loading from your website rather than pulling it from Google server, and that becomes a faster experience for the user. Also, if you are a Cloudflare user, what happens that Cloudflare often stores this JavaScript in their CDN, and it becomes very easy for them to load from right there. Rather than having JavaScript loading from Google server, you can actually load from yours, and I have personally observed that it loads faster, and I hope that you'll experience that too, because it is a problem and it should be resolved to improve the performance of your website. The next one is WP Mail SMTP. Now this plugin will be used by people who have considered to host their website on Google Cloud, AWS, DigitalOcean, as well as other cloud providers. This plugin is not needed for the people who have hosted their website on WordPress, or Bluehost or Hostinger, because these companies, these shared hosting companies, often have your email with webmail, and it is by default configured. But as if you are using if you are an enterprise user, or if you are someone who uses all these cloud companies, you will find that all these companies do not allow you to send email, and that becomes a challenge. So in that case, if you are not able to send mail after you have migrated to AWS cloud, or any other cloud, then in that case you can install this WP Mail SMTP. You can create an account maybe on Sendinblue or SendGrid. There are many options available, and then you'll be able to integrate the API. So it doesn't require a lot of technical knowledge here. It's just that you have to create an account on SendGrid or Sendinblue, and then you have to take the API key, come back here, and put the username and API key, and it will work. And it means that you are hosting your whole application on somewhere like cloud on AWS or somewhere, but your mail is actually being sent from the other email provider which you have configured here. So it becomes an interesting plugin because it's often a challenge. I was facing this challenge for very almost 2 to 3 months, and I was not getting all the security updates. I was not getting for lead form data. Then in that case, I asked about this in community, and someone told me that I should be using this if I'm using any cloud provider. And finally I used it and I configured with SendGrid, and it worked really well. So even though this might not be useful for you right now, but remember that when you move to some cloud provider and if your mail is not working, this is the plugin you have to configure, and you have to configure it with a third-party email service provider. Okay. The next one I have for you is search and replace. Often what happens that you move your website from staging to production, and this often happens with web developers or freelancers. Freelancers often build their website or build their client website on staging server, and they push it to migration. And when they do that, what happens that most of the URL, which is like maybe staging.abc.com, remains staging.abc.com, and images do not load, and it becomes challenging to go and change them one by one. Now this plugin, search and replace, will allow you to search all those URLs and replace with the new URL. For example, if it was staging.abc.com and now you need abc.com, you'll be able to do this with the help of this plugin, and it will help you and accelerate the process of pushing from your staging to production, and it becomes easier. This plugin is also helpful sometime when you have listicle content. Let us say that you have listicle content like top 10 best laptops in 2022, and because the year has changed to 2023, you want to change everything from 2022 to 2023. So in that case, you will put the pattern space 2022 space, and then you will replace that with space 2023, then space, and then you will replace all the occurrences. This will replace all the headings, and it will also replace all the 2022 mentions in the content, and then it will it will show the newer date. The next plugin I have for you is quick feature images. Now quick feature images allow you to set default feature image as well as change the image from the dashboard itself. So let us say that you have a use case where you have to publish 100 articles, and you published all the 100 articles, but maybe in 30 or 35 you forgot to put your feature image, and it became challenging for you. So what do you do in this case? If there was a way to set default feature image, it could have been nicer, right? Because it doesn't feel good when you look at a page and it doesn't have feature image. So this plugin allow you to set that default image, as well as once you go to the dashboard, all pages or all posts, it also shows you that this is the feature image, and from there you'll be able to change your feature image right from there. So the old way of doing this was to go to the post, go to feature image, and then change it. But here you'll be able to go to all posts, and just like all the titles, the feature images will be mentioned beside them, and you'll be able to change it right from there, and it becomes quite useful and quite faster compared to the process which was done earlier. So it is a very useful plugin. I hope that all the plugin listicle was informative for you. Going forward, we'll be making some listicle only for developers, only for people who are focused on security, and only for people who are doing specific things, someone like blogger. So I hope that the video was interesting for you, and give a thumbs up. And I'm trying to produce this content more and more so it can be useful and helpful to you. And I hope that I'm able to add some value with the experience I have. See you in the next video. Bye bye.